Hey there, welcome. Welcome to Rise and Receive. This is an opportunity in your day to stop whatever you're doing and sit back to explore how to receive your fulfillment by unlearning struggle. So today we're going to talk about how to activate momentum in your career. So if that's something that interests you, if you feel like you'd like to move with greater ease and speed in your work, in your career, whether it's finding a new job, whether it's a promotion, whether you feel like you don't even know what it is that you want to do, but you know that what you're doing isn't what you want to do, maybe you're seeking a sense of purpose or greater fulfillment in work and career, then I trust that you're going to like what we're going to unpack here today. If you don't know me, my name is Sonia Miller. I'm a speaker, coach, and best-selling author, and I show hardworking, goal-oriented people the blind spots that keep them from receiving their long overdue rewards. And the way that I do this is I teach people the very distinct results-producing skill set that I call receiving. Because I've learned that most people don't know how to receive. Most hardworking, goal-oriented people, what we know how to do is how to hunt, pursue, strategize, figure things out, seek, and find. But there's another skill set that's a partner to that, that's a balance to that. And if you don't know this other skill set, which is how to actually receive what you've been hunting and working hard for, then what happens is when you don't receive what you've been working so hard for, what we tend to do is we tend to work even harder. And that really is what keeps what we most want out of reach. But when you understand that you actually stop and receive, because that's its own skill set, then all of a sudden you know how to open the floodgates. And that's what I love to illuminate by shining the light on our blind spots. So what is a blind spot? I define a blind spot as when your current point of view hides an essential insight. And your insight, your perspective, is everything when it comes to receiving your fulfillment, because in my world and what I've been teaching and coaching around and living by for more than 25 years is this fundamental premise, which is your consciousness creates your reality. That means that everything that happens in your inner world, and it isn't just mindset, it's your emotions, it's conscious, it's unconscious, it's the beliefs and the experiences that you have that you don't even realize you have that forms your perspective in life. And your consciousness is the first cause of every effect in your life. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people think that cause and effect happens exclusively in the outer world, which means I do this, that's the cause, and I get this result. That's just a piece of the equation. When you're missing the bigger picture, the consciousness, that's really the root of everything that you set in motion into your life, when you can see that clearly by being able to have your blind spots revealed, then all kinds of things can become possible just by a shift in perspective. And that's what happens when we illuminate blind spots, is that we go from seeing things one way and not being able to see the thing we need to see, like when we're driving a car and we have a blind spot, to now seeing things in a new way. Your consciousness shifts and things just flow in, which is why something as simple as, for example, the Receive Oracle cards, there if you can see that, are so powerful. You pull a card, you read a principle, you see things in a new way, and things start to flow. So anyway, with that, the difference between receiving and hunting, or being and doing, when it comes to blind spots is this. A receiving blind spot occurs when you're operating more as a human doing, i.e. the hunter, versus a human being, i.e. the majestic tree that receives from life all day long without having to work hard or do anything. And that's the skill set that you get to tap into. So how does this apply to activating momentum in your career? Well, the blind spot I want to illuminate today is what I call the hunter blind spot. Okay, so when you are operating as a hunter, what tends to happen is you have a very narrow focus. That's what the hunter does. The hunter has a target and has narrow focus and seeks and pursues with that very narrow focus to the exclusion of all else. That's a very important skill set in the world of doing, because it allows you to get tasks done. but it's only good when you know what you want, when you've got a really clear outcome in mind, and then you can make a plan just like the hunter and pursue that target, okay? But that also slows you down, and it actually, this exclusion of everything else causes you to receive what you want, which is the target, but not receive the things that you don't want. So your flow, your experience of receiving things in the world of career or anything else slows things down and gets harder because you're manifesting things in fits and starts. You receive what you want. I don't want this. I do want this. I don't want this. And this creates stuckness. This is what stops momentum. And I'll talk more about it with concrete examples. But before I do, I want to talk about the flip side, the alternative. So the hunter closes in, focuses to the exclusion of all else, and that slows things down. The being model, or the majestic tree, has diffuse awareness, which is, in other words, no focus. The tree doesn't focus on what it wants. It receives all day long. So it actually sits back and it opens up and it receives everything. It receives everything. So what I call that is being unselective when you are pursuing any goal or dream. You learn how to be unselective in terms of what life gives you. So just so you know, that is the card that inspired today's reading. So you might see it here. This is the little booklet that I read from sometimes. There it is. Be unselective. Be unselective. And the willingness mantra that you can start practicing, which is a really easy way to open up the flow when it comes to career and anything in your life, is this: I am willing to be pleasantly surprised. I am willing to be pleasantly surprised. So let's unpack this a little bit, okay? You know, you might have the hunter blind spot affecting you or hindering your career momentum energy if you find yourself really trying to figure out, what's my next move career-wise? What do I want? I need clarity. Do you see that's all up in the head? All right. If you're doing that, you might be in hunter mode, and that's going to slow the momentum down. So how do we shift then into opening the flow? In other words, we go from slow to flow. Okay. This is where you can practice receiving. So receiving is a very simple yet profound skill set. And it's 3 steps. A-L-I. A stands for awareness. L stands for let it be here. And then I stands for invitation. The hunter is intention focused. The majestic tree is invitation, not even focused, invitation based. And so it's just a constant state of invitation. So a really good way to think about this is, if you've never been to a sushi bar, one of the ways that some restaurants do sushi, and I don't know if there's other places that do it this way, but I know it happens with sushi bars, is the conveyor belt. Okay, so when you go to most restaurants, you get a menu and you seek and find, like the hunter, what it is that you want to eat. All right. And that slows things down because you have to take time to think about it. And do I want this, and research it? And so it slows the flow down, and you're being selective about, okay, I want this. I don't want this. Does this have vinegar, or does it have cheese or gluten? No, I don't want this. So you see this, I want some food, but so this is happening. Now in a sushi restaurant that has the conveyor belt, instead of seek and find, you sit and receive. So you sit back, and literally this conveyor belt goes by and it's just constantly passing by you. And you just sit and you watch what comes through, and you don't attach to anything. You don't have to analyze it. You just sit, and if you don't want it, you let it pass on through. And then if you want it, you receive it and you put it on your table. And then you sit back and you just let it go on through. And then you pick something else. Oh, that looks good. I'll take it. And I put it on my table. But if you don't like it, you don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to resist it. You don't have to, pick and choose. You just let it go on through. And that's what we can do, not only with career, but with anything that we really want. We become fortunate receivers, which means we become unselective and learn how to receive everything that life gives you as sacred. So let's talk about it specific to career, because I've actually had a number of clients who've been really working on career stuff and they're wanting to go to their next level of fulfillment. So I'll talk about one client in particular that was at my Q&A yesterday, and he was talking about that the more he practices receiving, the more he's getting in touch with, I really want to do these things that feel creative and has this element of having more kind of alone time and contemplation time and creativity. But this other thing that I'm doing, which is paying the bills, I'm really not liking some parts of it. I'm really just kind of distancing myself from that. And what was bothering him was he knew that he was getting into seeking mode. He was trying to find answers and he was trying to sort out what to do about these feelings of not liking this, but liking this, and how to find his way. And so what I encouraged him to do is using ALI is to put his attention on awareness. So this is how it works. This is how the conveyor belt works when it comes to career. What I encouraged him to do, and this is what I always teach around the receiving method, is just start noticing what you notice and either write it down or speak it out loud. So what I told him to do is, for example, I'm aware that I like being creative, that I like working with people in this way, that I like playing with music and being connected to nature and my muse. I'm also aware that I don't want this. I don't want to be grinding and recruiting, and I don't want to be on my computer all day long, and I don't want to have to sit at my desk, and I do want this, and I don't want this, and I really feel good about this, and I'm aware that I really don't feel good about this, and I'm aware that I'm in seeking mode, and I don't want to be in seeking mode. So do you see that all of the stuff that was going on in his inner world, as best he could, that he was aware of, he just started to name it, to simply name it. Now, naming it is part of what allows you to detach from it, because otherwise you get lost in the feelings. So he just started to name what he was aware of. And once you do that in an exhaustive sort of way, then L is, I let it all be here. I just let these thoughts, these feelings, these awarenesses be here. That's what the conveyor belt does. You just let the food be here. You don't have to make any decisions. You don't have to ask any questions. You just let it pass on by. This lets it land. It lets the energy of the trying to figure out your career stuff move on through. You can take a deep breath. And then as it does, and you feel a shift, then you move into invitation. And invitation is simply willingness or a question. You don't go looking for an answer. You just put out this energy of invitation. So you can say something like, what else is possible now? Or how does it get even better than this? So you can do this with really detailed things that you're navigating at work, or you can do it with like the bigger questions of, how do I generate more money? How do I generate more momentum? And you let all the thoughts be here. Really empty it out of your awareness. Just put it on paper. Say it out loud while you're on a walk. Take a breath and invite more better. A great way to invite more better when you're feeling frustrated around career and stuck is, I am willing to be pleasantly surprised, just like the card. So no matter what happens, rather than attaching to it and figuring it out, just say, yes, I let this be here. I don't like it. I'm aware. How does it get even better than this? I'm willing to be pleasantly surprised. All receiving starts in awareness. And it's the difference between being lost in your thoughts or being observant of your thoughts. Once you're observant, there's space, things can move, and you become like the tree where just everything moves through. The things that you don't like, pass on through. You might get things you don't like. But as I always say, pain is inevitable. Sometimes you'll get things you don't like, but suffering is optional. And when you learn how to receive everything unselectively as sacred, there's flow, there's movement, there's momentum. You go from slow to flow, and the energy starts to pick up speed and new possibilities open up for you. So I hope this was helpful. If you liked it, please please share. It helps me reach the people that I'm here to serve. And if you're on YouTube, be sure to click the subscribe button. I'll let you know every time I release a new video. And if you would like your own Receive Oracle cards, go to ReceiveCardDeck.com. It'll take you to my Amazon link. You can buy your own deck there. And if you would like to explore a little bit more how to start receiving right now, just 15 minutes a day, consider the Receive Challenge. You'll get an email from me every day. It's automated. It tells you exactly what to do with 15 minutes a day, and it opens up the space so that the momentum and the flow starts to happen. All you need to do is set aside 15 minutes a day, press play, and the rest happens. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. I will be back for Rise and Receive next Friday because I'll be out of town on Tuesday, and we'll keep surpassing your limits with ease and speed. Have a great rest of your day. See you next time. Bye.